Welcome back, everybody. My name's Todd. I'm your host for The Laundry List. Happy Thanksgiving. We're coming at you live from Old Town Scottsdale in the heart of Old Town at Pod Populi. We are just loving life. We have incredible weather. I've been playing pickleball, played a couple times this last week. Played with a guy, actually, who was the number one tennis player in the country from 14 to 20, literally number one in the country, Eric Amen. And I remember playing this guy actually when I was 13 or 14, and he just smoked me in a tournament, the Fiesta Bowl. And he's still a phenomenal pickleball player at 58 years old. I mean, he's unbelievable. So I'm excited that he's part of our group. He lives in Old Town, and he's brought a lot of light and joy to our group, as well as competitiveness. But yeah, we hope you guys are having a great week. I got two very good friends on with me today, so I'm excited about that. But before we get too deep into it, I'm going to read the laundry list, and then Steve's going to read the promises. We became isolated and afraid of people and authority figures. 2, we became approval seekers and lost our identity in the process. 3, we are frightened by angry people and any personal criticism. 4, we either become alcoholics, marry them, or both, or find another compulsive personality, such as a workaholic, to fulfill our sick abandonment needs. 5, we live from the viewpoint of victims and are attracted by that weakness in our love and friendship relationships. 6, we have an overdeveloped sense of responsibility, and it's easier for us to be concerned with others rather than ourselves. This enables us not to look too closely at our own faults, etc. 7, we get guilt feelings when we stand up for ourselves instead of giving in to others. 8, we became addicted to excitement. 9, we confuse love and pity and tend to love people we can pity and rescue, or AKA projects. 10, we have stuffed our feelings from our traumatic childhoods and have lost the ability to feel or express our feelings because it hurts so much. Denial. 11, we judge ourselves harshly and have a very low sense of self-esteem. 12, we are dependent personalities who are terrified of abandonment and will do anything to hold on to a relationship in order not to experience painful abandonment feelings, which we experience from living with sick people who were never there emotionally for us. 13, alcoholism is a family disease, and we became para-alcoholics and took on the characteristics of that disease, even though we did not pick up the drink. And 14, para-alcoholics are reactors rather than actors. The laundry list, the 14 traits of adult children. And then with that, we do the work, we read the red book, we finish the yellow book, and then we get what's called the promises. And Steve's going to read the promises, which is the relief, the happiness, the being in the moment, our being and finding our true self. So, Steve, you want to read the promises?
Yes, I'd love to. Okay, the promises. 1, we will discover our real identities by loving and accepting ourselves. 2, our self-esteem will increase as we give ourselves approval on a daily basis. 3, fear of authority figures and the need to people please will leave us. 4, our ability to share intimacy will grow inside of us. 5, as we face our abandonment issues, we will be attracted by strengths and become more tolerant of weaknesses. 6, we will enjoy feeling stable, peaceful, and financially secure. 7, we will learn how to play and have fun in our lives. 8, we will choose to love people who can love and be responsible for themselves. 9, healthy boundaries and limits will become easier for us to set. 10, fears of failure and success will leave us as we intuitively make healthier choices. 11, with help from our ACA support group, we will slowly release our dysfunctional behaviors. And 12, gradually, with our higher powers' help, we will learn to expect the best and get it.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Welcome, Steve. Welcome, James. You both have been on the podcast, so it's kind of fun that you are filling in for Charles and Blake today, and we're just going to kind of shoot the shit and talk about whatever comes to our mind. But I know when I hear those promises, sometimes it's hard to even like understand what they're saying, but I hear freedom. I hear happiness. I hear being in the moment. I hear enjoying life, freedom, not being so stuck to shame, guilt. I'm not good enough. How could she have left me? Why didn't I, make money? Why am I not smart? Why am I, all the shame and should have, could have, would have statements. So I don't know how you guys feel about going from the laundry list statements to the promises, but there's a lot of freedom, I think, by reading the laundry list and going to the promises. What do you guys think of that?
I think the promises are beautiful.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with like money. It's just inner peace.
Right. Well, people, places, and things, right? Yeah. People, places, and things. And I always think, last night, James and I were watching Anthony DeMello, Wake Up. It's called, if you put in YouTube, Anthony DeMello, Wake Up, you'll see. And he was a priest, an Indian priest who really had more of a Buddhist feel and tone to him. And he talks a lot about there is absolutely no person, place, or thing that can cause you unhappiness. It's impossible. It's your decision to create that unhappiness within yourself. And he uses some simple examples. Like you go to a restaurant and you order your lobster bisque soup that you get at that restaurant every time. And the waiter's like, oh, we're out of it today. One guy gets into a rage and says, that's ridiculous. We're out of here. We're leaving. Grabs his family and leaves. And he's in a horrible mood now. The other guy's like, okay, that's no big deal. What else? What other kind of soups do you have? And they're like, we have chicken noodle, we have bisque, we have matzo ball. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll take the chicken. And it's no big deal.
Matzo ball.
Oh, I would have chosen the matzo ball for sure.
Yeah.
I love matzo ball soup. But it just goes to show you, like, different people have different reactions to certain situations. I went through a divorce 4.5 years ago, and I literally was coming out of my skin. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I was never in the moment. I was always in complete, a panic attack at all times, looking for her on the street, looking for her. Oh my God, did she drive by? Did she just try to call me? Did she text me? And I was in complete surreal experience. And I was feeling the feelings of abandonment. I was feeling the feelings of all the stuff we just read in the laundry list. But, I have other friends that go through divorces and they're like, yeah, it just didn't work out. No big deal. I'm going to start dating. And it literally does not affect their life to the extent that it affected mine. So why is that? Why do some people have the reaction I had and other people are like, yeah, just two different people. And I'm going to start dating some new people now and just see how that goes. And it just literally doesn't affect them. So that just goes to show me that the trauma and the unhappiness comes from within, not from out there. Because I used to say, oh no, it was Julie's fault. That's why I'm so messed up. That's why I'm so freaked out and panicked. And I had that situation was 4.5 years ago when the divorce happened. I've also had health anxiety where I thought I had cancer and was going to have surgery. This is about in 2010, 11. And I went into another panic attack. I had it with money. I had it when my son Grayson passed. I've had massive panic attacks where listening to DeMello last night, he's like, that's your choice. You can have those panic attacks. You can have that discomfort. You can have that sadness and that unhappiness. But the human experience is meant to be in the moment and meant to be pleasant, happy, and joyous. And everything else outside of that statement is your own creation of false programming and learning to create discomfort from the stuff you learned in your human body, in your experience. You didn't bring this into this life and you're not taking it with you. It's more stuff you learned at an early age that creates that hurt. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that. Steve, you want to go first?
You, what you said about like the aftermath of your divorce. God, that's why you're my sponsor, because you fucking get it. Excuse my language.
Yeah, no, you can say that here. This is not a church.
I am that, what you described. You know, I'm getting better, but I'm looking around. I'm like
looking for the ex,
like an abandoned dog looking for his owner. You know,
where is she?
I like that.
I want her to give me a hug. I want her to make me feel better.
Is it that car? Is that person walking away?
Oh, and it's so uncomfortable to have that feeling. Oh my God, there she is.
Where is she? Who's she with?
Right.
I really like listening to Sister Shivani.
Oh, she's amazing.
And
she's the modern day Anthony DeMello, by the way.
Yeah.
DeMello was 60s, 70s,
okay,
80s. I think he died maybe in the 80s, but Sister Shivani is the new Anthony DeMello.
So these are just enlightened people.
Right.
That's the way I see it. Like Eckhart Tolle,
Yep.
and you know, but her delivery really sinks in, and like 24/7, most people spend their days reacting to what they see, instead of choosing their response. And that's me. I've reacted to everything that I see. So if I'm in a nice setting, this is pleasant, this is peaceful, I love this. This room is so beautiful.
I know.
And I
love it too.
I feel good inside, you know?
Yeah.
And
it's a warm feeling.
Yeah, it is. It's a cave. It's a cool cave. But if the scene is not good, then I react to it in an unpleasant way, you know, instead of choosing how I should react or choosing my response, the way she put it, right? And what goes on stage outside of me they have all the power. They can do what they want. They can treat people the way they want. They can act the way they want. They're people, and they can act like me. They can act differently. If they act differently, I'll think that's inappropriate, you know, but
and that's your opinion.
That's my opinion. But what I have power over is what's going on inside of me.
Exactly.
Inside my own stage. I have complete power over that.
So I went to a 7 a.m. meeting this morning, and you just reminded me of this. There's a guy in there who doesn't like me. I know he doesn't like me. Like, he's told people he doesn't like me. And I avoid this guy like the plague. Like, I say hi to everybody in the meeting, but I won't go up to him. And it's like, why am I letting that guy determine how I feel and react and behave? Like, why not just go up to him and go, hey, good to see you, Jeff. It's nice to see you this morning. I hope you have a good meeting. But because I know he's told people he doesn't like me, I'm conditioned to be like, fuck this guy. Yeah. Like when someone doesn't call me back, I can call someone 3 times in a row. I can text them and they don't call me back at all. I'm like, fuck that. What the hell's wrong with that person? Instead of be like, I love them anyway, and I love those examples because I never thought I was going to be okay after Julie and I got divorced. I literally didn't think I was ever going to be okay, and certainly not going to have her in my life. But we're best friends now, and we have such a closeness and such love. That's unconditional love. For 23 years of marriage, it was conditional love. You stay with me, you raise the kids, you take care of the house, you take care of my needs, and I'll love you. But if you stop doing those things, I can't love you. So here's the list. You do these things on the list, I'll love you and stay with you and take care of you. If you don't do these things on the list, I don't love you. I mean, that's control at its finest. And with that comes pain. And with that comes discomfort. Instead of being like, you can do whatever you want to me, but I'm going to love you and I'm going to care for you because that's who I am. I'm like Sister Shivani says, I'm a pure, powerful, loving soul. And nothing can change that. Nothing you can do can change that.
I radiate peace.
I radiate peace. I radiate love. Now, it's easy to say in this warm studio, but when you're out there in the real world and people are being mean to you, flipping you off in traffic, beating a dog,
honking their horn,
we start to get unraveled.
The other day, I did the funny horn honk, though, that you were doing in the car.
I do it in good fun.
Yeah, I did it in good fun. Somebody honked at me, and I go, boop, boop. And it put a smile on my face.
Yeah.
Because it's a funny honk.
We got to put smiles on our faces. I mean, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
James, what do you think? You were listening to DeMello last night, and he's all about waking up. Wake up your spirit. Wake up your soul, and know that we are more than just this body. We are this beautiful, loving, powerful soul that's inside of us, but we're merged with this body that is conditioned to judge and control. What do you think about some of those messages?
I thought it was super interesting, all the stuff that he was saying, and kind of the different perspective he was having on things. I like the part where he was talking about the television, like, how people, they don't have the television, now they miss the television, but before the television was invented, you didn't have the television to miss, so it's like, it's all relative to what's prominent in your life, and how you look at things.
And he talked about escape, how we're always trying to escape through certain things, whether it's food, people. Nowadays it's screens.
And I have a huge problem with that, especially when I'm not doing the things that I should be doing, like program wise or anything. Maybe I'm not going to drink or have those kind of problems anymore, but I'll definitely have something else that I'm trying to fill that space with, whether it be gambling or overindulging in food or just, different things that I'm kind of filling that spot that I used to fill with the drugs and alcohol. Now I'm filling with something else. And I notice it when I'm not doing all the things that I should be doing. I had a question. Did you start doing the ACA stuff before or after you and Julie were going through the divorce?
While it happened. So Julie asked for separation in August, and there was a guy in AA that I knew that did ACA, and he knew I was hurting, and he asked me to lunch at Houston's, and he brought the Red Book, and I never really heard of ACA. And I've been sober 22 years at the time, 21 years. And he gave me the laundry list, and he goes, read these 14 things. And I read them, and I just started bawling in Houston's. Like, it opened up the floodgates of emotion. And that's when I started. And I got some relief.
And you think that led to seriously helping your going through your divorce with Julie?
Oh, it helped tremendously. Tremendously.
I have a lot of those problems that you're talking about where kind of how you were explaining, I've got this list of things that you need to do, kind of that conditional love. Like, and if you're not perfect, or if you're not doing these things that I'm expecting of you, then I'm going to be angry, and you're not going to get that love or feel that love. So,
isn't that funny? Like, we think that's love, but it's really, it's control, and it's codependency at its finest.
Then if you ask me if I love Kelsey or my girlfriend, I'd say yes.
Now, if she asked for a divorce or asked for a separation today and says, it's just not working out, we're two different people, but let's co-parent Emma together and let's just love each other, what would resonate in your feelings and your mind?
I'd be scared.
Scary. How am I going to get along without her?
Yeah. And thinking that that's not a possibility. We're so, like, everything's so intertwined. She's got things she does, and I've got things I do, and there's no way that I.
Well, it's even more than the logistics. Like it says in the big book of AA, nothing can fill the hole so deep in the heart of the alcoholic. Nothing, except for a connection with the higher power.
Yeah.
Nothing. So that means Kelsey, Julie, any woman cannot fill that hole that we have in our heart. But when we get that person in our life, we're like, oh God, I can breathe now. Oh my God, it's okay. Oh my God, I feel warmth. I feel okay. But when that person is gone, panic, like heart rate, just extreme nervousness.
Yeah. And like you were saying, I don't like how some people can go through that and just be like, okay, well, It didn't work out. And then there's other people just based on the things that we went through as children or these kind of like separation issues that we might have based on things that happened in our childhood. It's like, why them and not me? It's just like, why can they have one beer and why can't I? You know, it's the same kind of concept. It's super interesting, and it's definitely something I notice a difference when I'm doing the work versus when I'm kind of like I'll go to that meeting like next week I'll hit it, or when I'm just kind of slacking off. I notice these things are a lot more prominent than when I'm just waking up and doing the things that I need to do that day to keep my head on straight.
You know, I think it's falling in love with yourself. You know, you hear all about this self-love and, you know, really liking yourself, but I really do believe a lot of it comes from falling in love with yourself. Self-love. You know, when you love hanging out with yourself in solitude, not isolation and depression, but solitude and loving yourself, and then you bring another person in your life, it's almost like you need a rule book. Okay, I'm getting into a relationship. Here's the rule book. I'm going to still do my guy time. I'm going to do my meetings. I'm going to do my walks with my dog. I'm going to do my exercise. I'm going to not respond to their text or call instantaneously when they call. You know, you have like these 20 things that you live by. And then you start to notice I could actually have an interdependent relationship with a woman that is not so codependent, you know? Because I remember, like, my therapist is like, yeah, because I was dating this gal after Julie and I got divorced, and I was in this codependent fight or flight mode all the time. And she would call, and I would have to answer right away. She would text, I'd have to answer right away. And he's like, let it go to voicemail, you know? Don't text right away. Give it a couple hours. And even doing that was so hard. Which just shows I was in that codependent mode. I was in that codependent feeling of abandonment. You know, is she mad at me? Oh my God, is she mad at me? Like, I don't know what happens to you, but like if Kelsey is mad at you and like won't talk to you or won't answer your call, like what goes through your mind if she like blocks you or doesn't want to talk to you?
Angry. I get angry about it. I'll do things. I'll kind of make decisions throughout my day, like sometimes. So like, oh, she'll be mad about this, so I'm not going to do that, and like things like that. And it's sometimes it kind of trips me out. I was listening to one thing, and I don't remember. I think it might have been a podcast or something. It was talking about how toxic relationships is kind of like two people trying to make the other person what they need them to be instead of two people growing individually and coming and bringing their best selves to that relationship.
I look at it like circles. Like there's a circle and another circle. And if they're not touching each other, that's a healthy interdependent relationship. But if they're intersected in the middle, that's a codependent relationship, right? Like what you're just describing.
Yeah, and it's like, well, if you just did this differently, then everything would be okay. And then on the other end, it's like, well, if you just did this differently, then I could do that differently. But it's not like that. You can only change yourself, and if you make those changes for yourself, then you might see changes from the other person, or you might not. But that's not what it's about.
You can't have a rescue, and you got to let other people live the life and be who they want to be, right? I mean, I can't tell Alex, my wife, who to be, how to be. You know, I could tell her and express my feelings, but I can't tell her who to be and how to be. That's called being an adult, which is on our tagline of the laundry list. Being an adult is letting other people be who they are and loving them the way they are. Honesty. True honesty is speaking my mind. You know, so I think it's important for me to be honest with people. You want to go to Chinese tonight? I don't like Chinese. I don't think I want to do Chinese. Can we do Indian? Okay, I like Indian. Let's do Indian. Where before, oh yeah, you want Chinese? You like Chinese? Yeah, I like Chinese. Let's go to Chinese.
Yeah.
That's lying. That's manipulation. I mean, that's a simple example.
Or people pleasing.
It's people pleasing.
Yeah.
And I think I people pleased a lot of relationships my whole life because I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be approved of. I wanted people to like me. I couldn't stand when people didn't like me. I didn't like when I felt like I was judged. But now I know Jeff doesn't like me in the meeting, and I'm not exactly giving him a lot of love and attention, but it doesn't bother me. It doesn't take up space in my mind.
When before you can be in a room full of 50 people and there's that one person that doesn't like you, and that's the one you're focused
trying
on.
To trying to get his love and attention. Yep. Yep.
That happens to me just in everyday life.
Yeah.
Oh.
Does she need a bottle? Does Emma need a bottle?
Yeah, she needs something.
We got Emma in the room. She's almost a year. Emma, you want to come on the podcast, Emma? Hi, Emma.
Say hi.
Say hi, Emma.
Say hi.
Emma, say hi.
Hi.
Emma is James's daughter, who's almost a year. She'll be a year in January. She is adorable, the cutest thing. And I knew James from Grayson and Bond growing up in our house. And, he was the party animal. He was the guy who was drinking, drugging, but always polite, always like this wonderful, wonderful kid. But now he's sober and has a kid who needs a bottle. You want to get a bottle for her? Yeah, she's just getting out of a bad relationship. Yeah, she's feeling the feelings of the abandonment.
I was thinking about something.
Yeah.
Because I had a run of some bad months, in this past year.
Yep.
And it kind of messed with my emotional state, and I kind of hit an emotional bottom. And when I do that, I want to get high. I want to escape. I want to relapse.
Right.
And so I'm sober right now, and I'm wondering what is it? What really is it that makes me want to relapse? What's making me unhappy? And there's a couple of things, and one of them is loneliness. And I didn't really know what loneliness really means. I just figured it means you're alone and you need a woman in your life or something, and that's what my brain thought. And the other one is just not accepting people the way they are and wanting them to be the way I want them to be. So there's tension from that, and then there's a hole in my chest from this, and I just want to escape. I want to numb this out, and I want to fill this up. And drugs and alcohol does that.
So how can you get rid of the loneliness and the control without drinking and drugging?
Okay, so there's an option. The loneliness thing. I can find a woman, right? And that's what I thought, right? Because just like what you said earlier, you have a new female in your life and you feel great and you're just feel empowered and just good. But that's not the fix. That you're not fixing the problem. You're throwing a Band-Aid on the problem. The loneliness is that I just can't really give the attention, love, and validation to myself. And that's the problem, right?
Yep.
And
how do you turn loneliness into solitude? I guess that's a better question, because they're still both kind of being by yourself, but one is more of a negative word and one's more of a positive, loving word. So how do you turn loneliness into solitude?
There's this phrase, quiet communion with God. And what I like to do is just sit on my doorstep, on my porch, and write whatever's inside of me. Put it out on a piece of paper, and then I send it off to you.
Yeah. And how do you feel when you're done with that writing?
Accomplished. I can go to bed. I can sleep through the night.
Okay. I
drive slower in my car. It's not an overnight thing. It takes repetition. But Yeah, solitude.
Yeah, because the woman is not the answer. I think when we're comfortable in solitude and being by ourselves, and then when a woman comes into our life naturally, and we don't exhibit codependent behavior, then I think it's great. I think it's a great fulfillment in life. But if we're looking for the woman to fill that hole so deep in our heart and the loneliness, that's a big ask of another person to fix us. That's the rescue part of the laundry list, and no one else should have to have that responsibility to help fix us because we're broken. We need to fix ourselves.
And it's not going to fix us. We have to fix
and
ourselves.
you nailed it. It's that relationship with the higher power. It's learning to have fun and play in our lives. It's learning to have guy friends that we can do stuff with and have fun with. It's learning to maybe play music, taking the dog for the walk, laughing, meditating, going to a meeting and like engaging with other people. Mm-hmm. But if we're so broken and we can't live a fun, happy life outside of having a woman, then we're basically asking the women to fill us up and make us whole. And you know what? In the beginning, it kind of feels great. It's like a drug. Mm-hmm. But after a while, it's like, doesn't feel so good. And it's really hard on the other person too, because the only way they would do it is if they're broken as well.
Plus
right?
The underlying problem that just isn't fixed. If you don't love yourself, if you can't give yourself that attention, love, and validation, then, nobody can fix it except you.
Yeah.
And it's never something that's going to work, and you're asking someone to be it's one thing to ask for love and support. And it's another thing to say, you need to be my everything, my 100%. Like it's not something that you're both just going to end up disappointed because they're going to feel like not enough because you're asking them to be everything. And when something doesn't work out and you're upset about it, then they don't feel like enough. And then on the opposite end, you're never going to feel that whole feeling when you're looking for it outside of yourself.
Yeah. Well, I know for me nowadays, when I can't get a hold of Alex, I don't have the panic attacks that I had when I couldn't get a hold of Julie or any ex-girlfriend. I think every relationship I've ever had up until 54 years old, 53 is when I met Alex, has been a codependent relationship completely. I think the relationship with my mom and dad was very codependent. I needed their love and approval to be okay. And every romantic relationship from that point forward was codependent. I needed another person to make me feel okay. And I think my relationship with Alex today is a very loving relationship. But if I can't get a hold of her, or I text her and she doesn't text me back, or she's mad at me and storms out of the house, I don't have that panic attack anymore. I don't have that hole in the heart. I don't have that nervousness. I don't have that anxiety. And to me, that's progress.
Yeah. And plus, if you react on that stuff, it just pushes the other person away.
No question. Yep.
But yeah, all these things, all these tough, inner conflicts that we have, that I'm having at least, they're all just blessings in disguise. And they're all things that I'm learning from. And there's nothing that's happening in my life that I'm not getting a lesson from and growing from.
Yeah.
Every situation, good or bad, especially all the bad ones.
How about helping other people? We hear a lot about that. Calling a guy who's struggling, giving a homeless person a meal or $5. I sent my buddy who's homeless $9 on the Cash App the other day, and it just felt good.
So I hang out with guys that I don't make much money, okay, and I'm okay. I keep a roof over my head, but I do hang out with fellas. Wink, wink. that are well off, and and they've done a lot of business deals and whatever. I don't know, but they're doing good financially. And I always have the tendency to compare myself and wonder, how do I do that? And all I see is a blank black wall in front of me. And the other day I was at home and I was thinking about a situation. Ran into a guy at work, and the guy was telling me how there's a lot of homeless drug addicts riding their bikes up and down his street. And he confronted one and yelled at him, used profanity. And I understood that, but that's not how I would have approached it. Because I've been that guy walking up and down the neighborhood looking for drugs and just, I know my dealer. I know this guy lived over here on the street somewhere. I'm looking around, But anyways, I just feel like this strong sense of understanding and compassion. And I just have this inspiration that my calling in life has nothing to do with like financial success or anything. It's something in the opposite direction. And when I think about that, the fear of, what is the, like one of the 9th step promises about finances? It's, financial.
We'll be able to be financially independent, basically, and not have to rely on other people to take care of ourselves.
Or, financial distress will no longer control us or whatever.
Financial insecurity.
Insecurity, yeah. And I just look in this other direction, and it has nothing to do with making a living, nothing to do with money. And all I see is freedom and happiness. And just this huge burst of energy inside of me, this little fluttering in my chest, and clarity in my mind, and my eyes can see a little more clear. And I have just this surplus of energy. It's been a while since I've felt inspired.
And that's why I bring up helping others, like going to the backyard group last Friday, going to a meeting where there's a newcomer who's literally just holding on for dear life because he's got the shakes, and just sitting with him and just being a body sitting next to that person.
Yeah.
Just helping another person, texting somebody who's struggling, who's new.
There's the abundance of homeless shelters and stuff around here. And
sometimes just going and giving water and some food down there by the homeless shelter by Cass,
Andre House.
The Andre House.
Been amazing.
Yeah.
It's helped me out so much.
I wish you probably can. You could probably measure the level of happiness and serenity in your body and mind before you go to the Andre House and after you leave. And how good does that feel?
When I would go there, I was just scared, because I felt abandoned. What is she doing? Who's she with? She's not with me anymore. I don't know what's going on. I would run over there to the Andre House, and I'd mop floors, I'd do dishes, I'd prep food, I'd serve food, and I'd clean tables, and I felt damn good afterwards.
Yeah. And for that hour, you had some peace and you had some quiet, or 4 hours.
Yeah.
And you felt good about yourself.
They work you to the bone.
So guess what? If something makes you feel good about yourself, that's healthy, keep doing it.
Follow it. It's a path. So there's this path that's forming in front of me, and I'm just going to follow it.
Yeah. It's, I think it's important to really help people because like Sister Shivani always says, we're just a soul on a journey, we're just having this quick experience in this body with these circumstances. I'm a white male born in the US, living in Arizona, having this quick experience in this body. And then I'm off to the next one. And the next one could be, living in Australia in the outback, and the next one could be living in Africa, born into a cartel gang. And I mean, who knows, it goes on and on and on, but let's not take it so seriously. We take like this circumstance in this body at this time so damn seriously.
Oh my goodness.
And it's like, that's why I love, what's it, Rule 63?
Yeah.
Is that what they say? Don't take yourself so damn seriously.
Yeah. It's almost like I'm looking for stuff to take seriously too.
Yeah. Something to piss me off. And guess where that comes from? That comes from your upbringing. That comes from my upbringing.
Yeah.
Right. And we don't need that. We don't need to do that. That's why I love having all this new spiritual content that we can get on YouTube and Instagram, such good spiritual content. And I love sending it out too, because if it resonates with me, I hope it can like touch somebody else.
Yeah.
And then I can start living by the mottos of the laundry list: love, truth, family, happiness, honesty, being an adult, and not being in that scared that 6-year-old boy or that 15-year-old teenager that's like, screw you, I'm going to do what I want to do. And just being at peace and going with the flow and being the stream in the river,
The socks don't have any words on them though.
I know. The socks are smelly, so we can't put those words on them.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, any last words for our listeners? And, I call the Thanksgiving to New Year's time a tough time for just really for people in general. A lot of people feel a lot of love and happiness, but there are a lot of people who feel alone and abandoned and scared during this time. And that's why I think alcohol and drug abuse, it goes up during this time of the year. So anything...
I just feel really grateful to have what I have, and I have good friends.
So focusing on what you have, focusing on gratitude, focusing on the people that love you.
I love my doggy too.
Oh, dogs. Yeah. My puppies, Daphne Dora Belfer and Niles Jack Belfer. They bring so much light and love into my house.
Yeah.
And Bixby.
Bixby dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
We love our walks.
James just got a dog, but he's not in the gratitude just yet of the dog.
No. But I think it's important to think about the things that you are grateful for and not get stuck into the mindset of, well, I wish this was different. I wish I had this, or...
Yeah, focusing on what you don't have or what's making you uncomfortable. Focus on what you do have that brings a smile to your face.
Yeah.
And like Steve said, when you're stuck, go help someone. Go find your Andre house in your neighborhood, in your community, and go help someone. Every community has a homeless shelter. Every community has a food line. Every community has a shelter. Go bring some blankets. Go donate your time,
Or that Hickory Farms box that you get from people at Christmas. Break that up into baggies and give them out to
go give it out. Exactly.
Because I don't like it.
Because we're all the same.
I don't want that.
I can't judge someone who's homeless or using drugs. I can't judge them because I am that person. I may not be that person today in their circumstances, but I am that person. If we have love and compassion for every single person on this planet, every single person, then we're truly in love with ourselves because we are all the same. We are all one. There is no difference between any of us. We just have different wrappers from the outside, but from the inside, we are all that white light. We're all that exact same love. And the quicker we figure that out, the quicker we have more love and compassion for the world and for ourselves. That's why I love, Sister Shivani and Anthony DeMello and Bouchard and Peter Crone. And you could find all these people on YouTube. I know my wife loves Peter Crone, and he's absolutely phenomenal. Just, put in Peter Crone with a C into YouTube and you'll find all his stuff. But anyway, thanks for listening. We love you. Please be nice to you and your family this week. Fall in love with yourself. Enjoy solitude, not loneliness, and go out and help somebody else. And we will see you next week on The Laundry List.